Everyone thinks a king's affections were reserved for queens. They were wrong. The court of King James I of England, early 17th century, was a place of elaborate intrigue and veiled desires. Beneath the gilded facades and formal ceremonies, a quiet revolution was stirring, challenging the very fabric of royal expectation. This wasn't merely about political power, but a far more intimate kind of influence, one that would redefine the boundaries of royal favor. For centuries, the monarch's choice of spouse was a matter of state, alliances forged in matrimony. But what if the deepest affections, the most profound trust, lay not with a queen, but with a young, charismatic nobleman? This was the unprecedented reality that would unfold, captivating and scandalizing an entire nation. The year was 1614. James I, already a monarch of two kingdoms, Scotland and England, was a man of considerable intellect, though often described as awkward in person. His reign, however, would become indelibly marked by a series of intense, almost obsessive, attachments to young men, a pattern that began long before his arrival in London. His early favorite, Robert Carr, Earl of Somerset, had already fallen from grace in a spectacular fashion, embroiled in a poisoning scandal that shocked the court. The void left by Carr's downfall, however, would not remain empty for long. A new star was rising, one whose ascent would be even more meteoric and controversial. Enter George Villiers. Born in 1592, the second son of a Leicestershire knight, Villiers was not born into immense wealth or power. He was, however, blessed with astonishing good looks, a natural charm, and a keen intelligence that would prove irresistible to the king. His introduction to court in August 1614 was no accident. A faction of courtiers, wary of Carr's unchecked power, saw Villiers as a potential replacement. They groomed him, teaching him the sophisticated dances and courtly manners that would catch the king's eye. Their plan worked with astonishing speed. James was immediately captivated. The king, notorious for his dislike of bathing and general dishevelment, found in Villiers a refreshing contrast. He saw not just beauty, but potential, a blank slate onto which he could project his deepest desires for companionship and loyalty. Within months, Villiers was knighted. By 1616, he was master of the horse, a powerful and lucrative position. The king showered him with lands, titles, and wealth, elevating him to Viscount Villiers, then Earl, then Marquess, and finally, in 1623, Duke of Buckingham, an unprecedented rise for a man of his birth. This swift ascent bred resentment. The existing nobility, proud of their ancient lineages, viewed Villiers as an upstart, yet none dared openly challenge the king's affection. James famously declared, "Jesus Christ had his John, and I have my George," a comparison that left little doubt about the intensity of his feelings. Their relationship was more than mere patronage. Letters between them reveal a deep emotional bond. James often referred to Villiers as his sweet child, my only dear and darling, and his sweet Steenie, a biblical reference to St. Stephen, known for his beautiful face. Villiers, for his part, reciprocated with expressions of profound devotion, referring to James as his dear dad and my best king. Whether this affection was entirely genuine or a shrewd calculation to maintain his power remains a subject of historical debate. The king's favor extended beyond mere titles. Villiers became the conduit through which all courtly business flowed. To gain access to the king, one first had to secure the duke's approval. This gave Buckingham immense political power, effectively making him the most powerful man in England after the king. His influence was felt in every corner of the realm, from foreign policy to judicial appointments. He placed his own family and allies in key positions, creating a formidable network of power and patronage. The Buckingham faction became a force to be reckoned with. Yet this unprecedented influence came at a cost. Parliament, already wary of royal overreach, grew increasingly frustrated by Buckingham's dominance. They saw him as a symbol of corruption and extravagance, a drain on the national purse. The public, too, gossiped incessantly. The king's open affection for Villiers was a source of both fascination and scandal. While the term homosexuality didn't exist, the nature of their bond was widely understood and discussed, albeit in coded language. In a society where public morality was strictly enforced, particularly regarding royal conduct, James's relationship with Villiers was a dangerous tightrope walk. Yet, his power was such that few dared to directly challenge him on this personal matter. The true test of Villiers's power came when James's son, Prince Charles, grew older. Would the young prince tolerate his father's favorite, or would he seek to assert his own authority and dismantle Buckingham's influence? The succession loomed large. Surprisingly, a strong bond formed between Charles and Buckingham. The two traveled together to Spain in 1623, attempting to negotiate a marriage alliance for Charles. Though the mission failed, it solidified their friendship, creating an even more formidable power block. When James I died in 1625, many expected Buckingham to fall. But Charles I, now king, not only retained him, but deepened his trust. Buckingham remained his chief minister, wielding even greater power than before, advising the new king on all matters of state. This continuity, however, did not appease Parliament. If anything, Buckingham's expanded role under Charles I intensified their animosity. He was widely blamed for England's military failures and perceived corruption, becoming a lightning rod for national discontent. The story of George Villiers, Duke of Buckingham, is a stark reminder of how personal relationships, even forbidden ones, could shape the destiny of a kingdom. His ascent, fueled by a king's profound affection, irrevocably altered the course of English history, contributing to the growing tensions that would eventually erupt into civil war. His life, a meteoric rise from obscurity to unprecedented power, and his ultimate assassination in 1628 by a disgruntled army officer, stands as a testament to the dangerous allure and perilous consequences of being the king's favorite. Next, discover the scandalous tale of Catherine the Great and her many lovers.